thanks for joining me today for episode 26 of Business in the Bedroom, a bootstrapper's guide to doing it. I'm your host, producer Jemmy, providing practical advice for the newbie entrepreneur. And today I'm going to talk to you about creating WrapAround Services. This episode is brought to you by Flintstone Media. Listen in and let's do this. In the last episode, I cracked my business journal back open to share some of my latest news and milestones. But on the episode before that, episode 24, you and I chatted about your side hustle's side hustle. As a reminder of that discussion, as you're building the main portion of your business, you may have to support that effort with another side hustle, especially if you have left or are leaving your 9-to-5. And we covered 2 ways to create that side hustle for your side hustle. Number 1, side work. And number 2, side products. So creating a side hustle for my business meant utilizing my web development, SEO, and digital marketing skills to provide side services that help me make ends meet. But that was a completely different client base from my main business that I was building off of podcast production. Well, the next phase of evolution for me, which could be the next phase of evolution for you, was creating wraparound services for my core business that I offered to my same core business clients. Yay! Creating these wraparound services for yourself moves your resource for extra income away from existing in a different lane outside of your core business to being able to instead be wrapped around your core business and leveraged toward the same core clients. Thus, continuing to further tip the scales toward having your business be completely the thing you really want to focus on. So let's run through how I did that and a couple of ways you can do that too. Firstly, your wraparound services can come from the same skill set pool as your side hustle's side hustle, which we tapped into in episode 24. The route I then took was, of course, wanting to continue growing my podcasting services as that part of my portfolio grew and the awareness of podcasting as a thing grew, while at the same time relegating my side hustle services, the other digital marketing services of social media, website design and development, SEO, etc., to be wrapped around my podcasting services. So let's say you are building a business as a copy editor. Okay, just as an example. And you started to get more and more work here and there, and you're building up a good copywriting, editing portfolio. Not enough to sustain the whole business yet, but a steady climb. So as that is continuing to ramp up, that side hustle for your side hustle that has been helping you make ends meet can become a smaller and smaller portion of your business. Let's say in this copy editor's example that your side hustle involved helping companies improve their SEO, something I used to do actually. Then while you are editing a core client's work, you can also now offer to create brand new blog posts for that core editing client on their behalf as a ghostwriter in order to build their SEO. So if they come to you to edit their blogs that they're already working on their own or their e-blasts or whatever, you can also offer to create original blog content for them as an additional service. And that core client is now not only utilizing you for editing, but also for writing original pieces to help them with their SEO. Woohoo! Let's say instead, in this copy editor's example, that your side hustle was involving selling products on Amazon, right? Well, how would you parlay that into a wraparound service for your core editing business? Well, you can begin to offer this service to your copy editing clients by telling them that you can manage their Amazon sales account for their books. Or you can get even more creative and suggest new revenue ideas for them that you then help them with. For example, you can offer to create downloadable PDFs that they can then use as lead generators. In other words, you're using your copywriting and editing skills to create these new products for them. Then, utilizing your Amazon sales portal experience, you can set up those PDFs to be for sale, pitching that as an additional revenue stream to your editing clients and creating a wraparound service for yourself based off of your side hustle skills. See? Almost no matter what your side hustle has been and how intuitively you think they do or do not match with your core business service you're building, sometimes it just takes getting creative and thinking outside of the box on how to apply them. So aside from the core business offering that you're building, what are the skills that go into your other supportive side hustle? Then deconstruct those skills, writing skills, sales skills, technical skills, bow hunting skills, 10 points to Gryffindor for being able to name that movie reference. And no, it's not Harry Potter, but bow hunting skills, right? Take those additional skills and boil them down to figure out all the ways that you can craft them into wraparound services for your business's core clients, thus creating a much stronger relationship with each core client, generating more revenue from each core client, and beginning a much more focused part of the entrepreneurial journey for you. So that is you taking all of that other stuff that you know how to do that on the surface seems like it might have nothing to do with the core business you're building and figuring out creative ways to move those skills into services for the same client base. Ultimately, you want to go from having 2 or 3 different sets of customers, each pulling from different lanes of your skills, to having your core services customers using more of your skills by applying them as wraparound services. And over time, as you continue to grow the side of your business that you really, really, really want to focus on, like in my case, the podcasting services, over time, you can siphon off the clients who have been customers from your side hustle and make them no longer your customers, right? Because you're no longer doing that side hustle as a separate offering. And instead, you now have that side hustle service. And over time, as you continue to grow the side of your business you really want to focus on, you can siphon off the clients who have been customers from your side hustle and make that a smaller and smaller and smaller portion of your business. In other words, using my case as an example, I don't have social media clients and website clients who are separate from my podcasting clients. No. Now, rather, my core podcasting clients are now utilizing more of my skills through my wraparound services, and I only have a singular client base moving forward. The other approach would be to create a completely new set of services to wrap around your business's core offerings that are based on the same skill set as your core business. And I've definitely done this too. The secret is to create new services that are in line with the skill sets you are building as part of your core service. So as an example, becoming a podcaster, I've learned a lot of new skills that I never needed before when I was behind the desk as a data analyst instead of now in front of a microphone, right? Skills like prepping content, interviewing people, editing and sound engineering skills, creatively putting audio together as almost like a theater piece. Seriously, go listen to some of the adventure preview episodes on Finding Florida. You'll see exactly what I mean. I had a ton of fun pulling news stories and stuff and presenting them in a certain way to my co-host Glenn, creating both an experience for him in the moment as we were recording and making like a fun trivia segment or what have you, and an experience for our listeners that was like a theater of the mind. That show was a lot to put together, but also a lot of fun to put together, but a lot of work too. And I really learned the theater of podcasting from that show and the long form programming that a podcast is. In case you aren't aware, Finding Florida, for context, that is my travel adventure show. It's currently on hiatus due to the pandemic, stupid COVID. But we really, really created a lot of theater in that show because we had to, right? It was a travel adventure show presented in all audio. That we kind of had to. So go listen to a little bit of that. You'll understand. I practically became a Foley artist over the course of doing that show. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait for that show to come back. But anyways, I also learned to do all that kind of stuff on a much smaller scale too, drafting ad scripts for commercials and that kind of thing. So looking at that set of skills, the new set of skills that I had built up by becoming a podcaster, I realized I could easily offer custom audio as a wraparound service for my podcasting clients. Custom audio? What's that? Well, it could be commercials for other podcasters' shows. For example, if a podcaster landed a sponsor for their show, then I could put a commercial together for them. It could be putting a sizzle reel together for someone who wanted to capture highlights of their show to present to sponsors, for example, or a sizzle reel highlighting someone's appearances on other podcasts as a way to present themselves for future podcast guesting opportunities. It could have been a special romantic Valentine's Day audio track for a boyfriend to send to a girlfriend. Okay, so that request never came in, but the romantic in me always hoped it would. I'm still crossing my fingers, guys. Still crossing my fingers. And one example that I've been asked to do for a client now twice has been creating a meditation series for them. So this was done for Mystic Michaela. She's a podcaster with her husband, Scott Firester, and they wanted to create a meditation series to offer as a product to sell to their listeners. So they weren't podcast episode tracks. This is totally different from a podcast editing experience. Rather, it was an overall project involving several pieces that were just a totally different flow and feeling to them. Like I had to create a mood, y'all. Okay? It was really, really unique and cool and played off of not only my editing skills, but my ability to create audio theater. And they loved it so much that they contracted me for that second series. So that was really cool. But yeah, so there's that as well, the custom audio piece. So that pulls from my skills that I learned as a podcaster, that is the core business. And now I've created wraparound services for my podcasting clients based off of that. Additionally, I'm also now a podcast coach. So it's separate from the consulting I do for my production clients, but all the consulting that I've done for my production clients over the years has made me a really good podcast coach. So now I've crafted a whole new plan for podcast coaching with its own price points that's completely separate from the clients I produce for. So after building up my podcast consulting skills with the clients I produce for, now I have an offering that I can provide for consulting for any podcaster, even if I'm not producing for them. So as a third example from my own path, I've also put together a top tips pack. So for people who cannot afford my full personal one-on-one coaching program, they can still gain a resource full of tips from me at a much lower price point. And of course, there's a link in the show notes to that top tips pack in case you're interested. And we'll talk more and more about creating different revenue streams in more detail in a future episode. But I want to take a second just to make sure that one additional point isn't missed from that last example. That because I know that not everyone can afford my personal coaching fees, I've created now a new opportunity for me to still connect with and pour into them by creating a resource they can download. And they can still become not only my customer, but part of my community that way. So I'm expanding my reach instead of restricting it. But like I said, that's a bigger conversation for another day, right? Creating different revenue streams and blah, 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 different audiences, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, different conversation every day. But yeah, look at the skills you've built up, both from the business you're building and anywhere else you've gained skills, and figuring out how you can then apply those skills toward creating wraparound services for the clients of your core business is a fantastic way to grow the next phase of your company. Thanks for tuning into the podcast yet again today. I love it when you join me for Business in the Bedroom. We have all these conversations, but I also love when you join me for conversations to continue these topics on Clubhouse. I'm so happy to hold my Dreamers Become Doers Club rooms on Clubhouse and see amazing conversations continue from the show and incredible connections happen right there in front of my ears on Clubhouse. It's pretty awesome. So please pop into Clubhouse. If you're not aware of the app, it can be downloaded right in your app store. And so you're going to have a really fantastic time joining me on Clubhouse, especially in the Dreamers Become Doers Club rooms. And you can also join in with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Oh my goodness. If you remember from the last episode, I'm now on TikTok. It is a thing I'm doing. Oh my goodness. And then also, you can also always email me, Jemmy, Jaime at flintstonemedia.com, or leave me a voice message at bizinthebedroom.com, and may even be included right here on this show in a future episode. Lots of ways to connect, and I can't wait to connect with you. So please reach out to me and help me help you on your journey from being a dreamer to becoming a doer. Again, the website address where you can find all the things is bizinthebedroom.com. That's bizinthebedroom.com. And remember to hit it hard. Keep the lights on.